Hello and welcome to another Genshin Impact video. Today we're going to talk about one of the best support characters in the game, Bennett. Bennett is a 4-star Pyro sword user who can buff your team's attacks, heal your allies, and set up powerful elemental reactions. In this video, I'll show you his kit, his talents, his best artifacts and weapons, his constellations, and some team compositions that work well with him. This guide is aimed for beginners and those looking to get started with Bennett who they may have just pulled on the new banner. More advanced options such as a DPS Bennett or other C6 combinations won't be covered, as I'll be focusing on new players who have been starting out in Genshin Impact recently, who are wondering how to get the most out of this character and why everyone says he's so good. For his kit and talents, Benny's normal attack is nothing special. It performs up to 5 rapid strikes, he has a charging and plunge attack. The damage can scale if you increase it. However, if you're just starting out, don't invest your resin here. Don't use your resources. It's not worth leveling, and his primary purpose is to support the team and let others do the damage, and use his skills to set up reactions. Don't invest into his normal attack. Bennett's skill is Passion Overload. Passion Overload can be used as either a short press E ability or a press and hold. If you press and hold, it will charge up to multiple levels and do a different attack depending on which level is unleashed. When you're just getting started, the easiest thing to do is just tap his E. However, if you need every last drop of energy you can possibly get, charging up to level 1 will net you more energy particles overall. Be careful though, if you charge up to the maximum level and let go and you're not inside of Bennett's burst, you will be knocked back. Bennett's burst is Fantastic Voyage. Fantastic Voyage creates a circle on the ground where Bennett casts the ability. When allies are inside of the circle, they will be healed until their health reaches 70% health. So if you're under 70%, the health will be increased. If they have at least 70% or they're above 70%, instead they will have their attack boosted. This effect changes when Bennett reaches Constellation 1 to both heal and boost attack, and this benefit is what makes Bennett so fantastic. Bennett's first Ascension passive is Rekindle, which decreases Passion Overload's cooldown by 20%. Bennett's second Ascension passive is Fear Not, which means that when you're inside the circle for Fantastic Voyage, Passion Overload will change slightly. The cooldown will be reduced by 50%, and if you charge up to level 2, Bennett will not be knocked backwards. Honestly though, it's not worth charging Passion Overload to level 2 pretty much ever. Bennett's Exploration passive reduces the expedition time when he's dispatched in Mondstadt by 25%. Bennett is primarily a support character who provides passive healing to his team even when he's off field if they're within sight of his circle. He can buff their attack as well, which is unlocked at Constellation 1 to do both healing and attack buffing at the same time, and he is typically run with a support artifact set and build. Let's talk about artifacts now. When you're leveling Bennett, early game, you're going to want to focus on getting as much energy as possible, energy recharge as possible, so that Bennett can be put to good use early on. This means you won't be waiting so long in between his bursts if you use sets like the Exile, which you'll get just passively from chests. It provides 20% energy recharge, and look for items that have energy recharge. Early game, it's up to you whether or not you want to level these artifacts up. There are some adventure hand guides, handbook steps that encourage you to level things to level 4 and then level 8. However, in general, you don't get a heck of a lot of stats off of these, so if you happen across a main stat energy recharge, it can be useful to level, but your mileage may vary, so use your discretion here. From AR 45 and above, you're guaranteed a 5-star artifact when completing an artifact dungeon. From this adventure rank, you should focus on getting the main stats correct for your Bennett. The stats you would be looking for are energy recharge, HP percent, and possibly healing percent. Those are the primary things you would like to focus on. Preferably on the set of choice, which for Bennett is Noblesse Oblige. The 4-piece set bonus for Noblesse Oblige increases all party members' attack by 20% for 12 seconds when using an elemental burst, which synergizes very well with Bennett. You should not opt to choose another set in most cases for most players. More advanced players can choose their own path, but in general, equip Bennett with Noblesse Oblige. It's worth noting you probably don't need to farm Noblesse Oblige directly by visiting the domain, although you are welcome to. You can pick it up passively by farming for other characters and using the Artifact Strongbox from Adventure Rank 45 and above to put your extra unused artifacts of 5-star quality and above, or rather 5-star quality, into the Strongbox in order to get Noblesse Oblige pieces. For Noblesse Oblige, you want as much energy recharge and HP percent as you can get, and any additional elemental mastery can be helpful, but honestly it's fairly niche. Every little bit helps, so the main things to focus on would be energy recharge and HP percent. The thing to remember about artifacts is that your Sands, Goblet, and Circlet all have main stats that can vary. So the main stat for the Sands you're looking for will either be energy recharge, if you need energy recharge on your Bennett, which it's very likely you will, or HP percent if you have enough energy recharge from other items. If you don't have enough energy recharge from other items, try to get an energy recharge Sands. It doesn't need to be a Noblesse Oblige Sands. It needs to be the right main stat first, and the set bonus comes later. So if you're starting out, get the right main stat first. If any of the substats are good, you can keep that piece and build on it. If you get the main stat right, but it doesn't have any substats, like this poor, sad little artifact here, which has 0 helpful stats for Bennett, don't worry. You can keep that, and he'll do great. As long as the main stat's right, you can upgrade this piece later. For the Goblin, use an HP percent Goblin. Any HP percent Goblin. Again, energy recharge, HP percent are your focus. Don't get too hung up about the substats. Get the main stat correct, so HP percent here. You can't get HP percent on a substat on this as a result, so energy recharge would be the one stat you'd primarily be looking for. And other stats, they'll just make them stronger down the road. Don't get hung up on substats and throw your artifacts away too early. Finally, for the Circlet, you can use either HP percent or healing bonus, preferably one of those two with energy recharge. That will be your primary focus for a Circlet. HP percent with energy recharge, or healing bonus with HP percent, or healing bonus with HP percent and energy recharge, or energy recharge. For weapons, Bennett's healing and his bonus works purely off of the base attack of his weapon. It's not affected by any attack modifiers on any artifact pieces, such as this 8.7% attack buff here. It's only on the base attack from the weapon, so all of these attack percents are worthless. Do not be confused about that, as well as that flat attack. The only thing that matters is the base attack of his weapon. So when choosing a weapon for Bennett, be careful. Don't be tempted to choose an energy recharge weapon, because energy recharge is very important for him if it has a low base attack. Now, the Fluve, the pipe, is actually a decent 4-star item in that it has 510 base attack with high energy recharge, but it's kind of in demand by other characters such as Farina. So a good alternative can be Sapwood Blade, which when leveled to 90 has higher base attack but lower energy recharge. So it is an excellent choice to improve Bennett's healing. Other items, such as Sacrificial Sword, you'll notice have a lot of energy recharge, but a much lower base attack. So you will be limiting the ability for you to heal your team if you choose one of these weapons. Where possible, use a 5-star weapon that has a very high base attack, like Aquila Favonia, or honestly, Miss Splitter would be a bit of a meme, because other characters could put it to much better use than Bennett could. So if you have a nice high attack weapon, don't fret too much about it. He will get better if you can equip him with the right weapon. For constellations, Bennett's first constellation 1 makes it so that Fantastic Voyage attack increase no longer has an HP restriction and is always active as long as they're inside the circle. And additionally, it will gain 20% more of Bennett's base attack. Constellation 2 means that when Bennett is below 70%, he has 30% more energy recharge. Bennett's Constellation 3 increases the level of Passion Overload, his skill, by 3, so the maximum level will now be 15. Constellation 4 means when using a normal attack, as the second attack of Passion Overload, charge level 1, it'll do a follow-up attack. Honestly, useless. Don't worry about it. Constellation 5 is excellent because it increases the level of Fantastic Voyage by 3, so the maximum level is 15. Constellation 6 means that Sword, Claymore, and Polearm characters who are inside the circle for Bennett Fantastic Voyage, they will be infused with Pyro. This can change physical characters like Eula into a Pyro attacker. So it can dramatically change who they can be played with. So a lot of players opt not to activate this, but whether or not you do is up to you. Keep in mind, however, that once you activate it, it cannot be turned off. So how about teams? Who is Bennett actually played with? Bennett's most famous team is what's known as the national team. The national team is a core of Xiangling, an animal unit like Kazuha, or if you don't have Kazuha, Sucrose can work in some cases, or someone else to swirl. Lynette is free if you don't have either of Sucrose or Kazuha. You want someone who can swirl, and there's an important reason for that we'll talk about in a moment. But this is the core national team. Now the national team has other variants that can work and other characters can slot into, such as Raiden National, or Rational as some people say. I don't buy into all the different silly team names. You can use Fischl if you have her. This will create overload like with Raiden, where you'll knock enemies back. If you don't like that, you can do Vaporize with someone like Xing Shao, which will do massive damage. And everyone in this team also benefits from Bennett's buffing. So what does that actually look like? Let's go to the Abyss and do a bit of a demo. So what you can do is do your setup, place down Bennett's buff, and then use attack scaling characters such as Xiangling for massive damage. Now, one thing you're seeing here is Pyronado continuing to do damage even after Bennett's buff is expired. And the reason for that is it does what's known as a snapshot. So some users, such as Xiangling, once they do their ability inside the circle, will continue to benefit from Bennett's extremely high buff percent with his high base attack after his buff ends. You'll see here I'm using multiple levels of charging for additional energy as opposed to just a tap, which generates 2 particles. And you see here, my Bennett can heal for 7,152, which is massive. With a press and hold, you see more energy is generated. 3 particles rather than 2. So any team that needs an attack buffer will benefit from having Bennett. There are other variants of this team, but where a character wants attack, Bennett makes an excellent pair. And this includes Navia. So if you recently pulled for Navia, know that Navia, Noelle, Xiangling, and Bennett, or Navia and Ningguang, Xiangling, and Bennett are also great choices if those are all you have available to you, and very free-to-play friendly. That wraps it up for this overview of Bennett. He's an excellent support character who will make a great addition to your account and is well worth your time and your investment of resin into him. Don't forget to hit the like and subscribe button, and we will catch you in the next one. Goodbye.